Ed Gordon, who interviewed the president this past week, now takes a closer look at Kamala Harris.
In 2003, underdog Kamala Harris won the district attorney election for the city of San Francisco.
Most important things don't come easy.
Her victory marked the start of a political career that certainly would not come easy. Kamala Devi Harris was born in 1964 in Oakland, California. Her mother, Shamala Gopalan, was from India, and her father, Donald Harris, from Jamaica.
I was raised by a mother who said many things that were life lessons for me, including don't you ever let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
She grew up in Berkeley, California, where her parents were both academics and activists who participated and raised their children within the civil rights movement. Harris graduated from Howard University in 1986.
I chaired the Economic Society. I was on the Howard debate team.
She then graduated from law school from the University of California, Hastings in 1989, and public service was her calling.
If you want to pass Proposition K, you're going to have the exact opposite effect.
After serving 7 years as the district attorney of San Francisco, in 2010, she was elected Attorney General for the state of California. She broke barriers as the first Black and South Asian woman to hold the position, which she did for 6 years before she stepped into national politics.
Attorney General Kamala Harris just made it official. She is running for U.S. Senate.
We know this is the first open Senate seat we've had in almost a quarter of a century.
In 2016, she ran for Senate in California, and she won.
I intend to fight for truth and transparency and trust.
And it didn't take long for her fight to be felt in Washington, D.C.
Attorney General Barr, has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone?
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
Could you repeat that?
With her insistent inquiries and commitment to progressive policies, presidential buzz was quickly building around her, and she made it official in 2019.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
Her announcement rally in Oakland drew nearly 20,000 people, and her campaign quickly gained momentum.
And those folks don't want a wall, they want a paycheck. So let's be clear about what should be the priorities of this administration.
Harris's most notable moment came during a primary debate with Joe Biden over his opposition to federally mandated busing.
You also worked with them to oppose busing. And, you know, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
But her campaign soon began to stall. Her record as a prosecutor in California at times was at odds with the direction of the party. And before long, the momentum she had was gone.
It is with deep regret, but also with deep gratitude, that I am suspending our campaign today.
However, she would soon be on a new campaign.
I have no doubt that I picked the right person to join me as the next Vice President of the United States of America, and that's Senator Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris!
Just months after her own campaign fell apart, Kamala Harris was on the presidential ticket with Joe Biden.
I accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States of America.
And in November of 2020, Joe Biden was elected the 46th president.
We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
With Kamala Harris making American history as the first female Black and South Asian vice president.
I, Kamala Devi Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all.
In her role as vice president, she initially seemed to struggle to find her footing.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
At first, she was assigned the immigration crisis. But she found her voice when Roe versus Wade was overturned.
Today in America, 1 in 3 women of reproductive age live in a state with an abortion ban. Since Roe was overturned, I have met women who have had miscarriages in toilets because they were refused care.
And she has taken the message of reproductive rights throughout the country.
We trust women. And when Congress passes a law that restores the reproductive freedoms of Roe, our President, Joe Biden, will sign it.
And as the 2024 presidential campaign began to heat up, Vice President Harris stayed the course.
When you look at current polling, the front runner for a Republican nomination is the former president, the 45th president.
We will win re-election. We will win re-election. There is too much at stake, and the American people know it.
Even after President Biden's debate performance against former President Donald Trump, she stood by him.
Look, Joe Biden is our nominee. We beat Trump once, and we're going to beat him again.
And President Biden stood by her.
Folks, I know what a black job is. It's the Vice President of the United States.
But as President Biden drops out of the race, the focus is now on Vice President Harris. Will she be able to win the nomination and make history again?
Ed Gordon, who interviewed the president this past week, now takes a closer look at Kamala Harris.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to The Couch. My name is Ama Pratt. Thursday, very topical issues. It's been another very busy week in terms of issues, in terms of, the politicking, as all of us get ready for, again, 7th December 2024, when we go to the polls to decide who gets to lead Ghana. Let me go through the issues as has been topical this week. So this week, there's been the $34.9 billion ambulance deal issue. This is one more of the many scandals that our MP for North Tongue, the Honorable Samloku Jetta Ablakwa, has unearthed. So there's that. There's Kamala Harris in the U.S. Her name has come up very strongly, in their politicking towards their election. Joe Biden, in the heat of a very dramatic turn, has resigned. I think days after, that very troubling incident of the Trump shooting. And now here we are, with the possibility of America's first female president. So there's that as well. And then there's the, presidential debates for Ghana. Should Mahama and Bawumia debate? It's interesting. This is a debate about a debate, and it's very interesting, so there's that, as well. Should there be a presidential debate? The NDC's, members are saying, no, Mahama will not debate Bawumia. Bawumia supporters are saying, we are ready for this debate. So there's that as well. We will get into that. Perhaps for me, the most topical, as of today, Thursday, would have to be the 2024 mid-year budget review. Did you follow? Did you pay attention? Do you find, that in the midst of our economic, like Kwame says, quagmire, there's some solution, or at least some hope flowing, from this 2024 mid-year budget review? These are issues. We'll get into them very soon. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining us tonight to have all of these conversations are, the squad, the Thursday squad. Right next to me is lawyer. Lawyer, good evening.
Evening, Mama. How are you?
I'm well.
Yeah, you are doing very well. 24 hours, very well.
Very well.
Yeah, I can see.
Hi, Kojo. I'm going to tonight, so Yes, I've been threatening your life all evening.
Fear of my life.
Don't be afraid. I'll kill you small. Small. Hi, Kwame.
Hello, madam.
It's great to have you here.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for the opportunity to sit with my two greats.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure. Sometimes I wish the viewers could have, insight into what gets said before the show starts.
I'm glad they can't.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm afraid we finish the show before the show, but we will still get to the show. So, this week has been very, very topical. America first. And please, you don't have to comment on this. There's a Kamala Harris, thing. Who I'm fascinated by it, clearly. It's a great Professor Mills who advised us that it just so happens that when it comes to Americans, and particularly when it comes to such historic and monumental happenings, we dream, can't we? We dream that somehow it will seep over into our own reality, but that is me dreaming. You don't have to dream along with me. You can leave it there. So there's that. There's the Kamala Harris issue, but there's also the 2024 mid-year budget review. This is me doing my fiasem. So perhaps we can start from there. Kojo, you want to?
Sure. I just realized that I don't really take enough opportunity to thank you, for this weekly opportunity to hang with such smart, intelligent, deep thinking intellectuals from whom I learn something new.
I hope I'm
every
part
week.
of that.
Oh, am I? Why would you seek to exclude yourself?
From very recent happenings today, I was just tempted to ask if you consider me worthy.
You want to bring that one here?
He's talking you.
I'm sorry, please go ahead.
I don't take enough opportunities to thank you for that, and I really appreciate it. I look forward to these encounters. All right, let me very briefly say that it's funny because our election years always coincide with the election years in the US, so the intrigue seeps through into our consciousness, and we all get very fascinated by what's happening in the United States. Very amusing situation currently where a convicted felon is the favorite to become president of the United States, and there are those who would so much rather have a convict as the president than a woman. Joe Biden, for me the interesting thing is rather how long it took for them to finally retire Joe Biden. He's paid his dues, he's done his bit, but he was clearly struggling. His health was not up to scratch, and it's not about the age, it's about the health, because there are older politicians than Joe Biden in American politics who don't have the same health issues that he has. It's the health situation, and they've propped him up too long, to the point where it got embarrassing. And that last debate, you can imagine those who care about him might have watched that thing with tears in their eyes, how he was exposed, and eventually he had to bow out. There seems no better option for the party at the moment, but some might arise. Joe Biden, suggested that he would recommend Kamala Harris to replace him. Of course, Kamala Harris is now seeking the party's nomination, but I'm sure that if there are others interested, they will show themselves. If not, Kamala Harris will become the nominee, and then we'll have a very interesting race. But she doesn't have a lot of time to make an impact. We'll see how well she does.
Yeah. Can you just go on with the budget?
The budget? The budget? Yes. Okay, so the budget was read on Tuesday. I remember I anchored the discussions on Joy News, and I mean, first of all, they made us wait. They made us wait 4 hours before they read the budget. And the whispers I'm picking up, I wish we had an MP on the show today. I would have asked him point blank. What I'm picking up is that they were negotiating the MP's common fund. That's one of the, whispers I'm picking up. That's the reason for the 4-hour delay. Now, that in itself is not the worst part of it. I mean, it's bad enough that you would hold the whole country to ransom because you want cash. But you notice that the minority side was absent from the chamber until the negotiation was completed. But the majority side were loitering about, sitting in their chairs and all that. So it was only the minority that wanted the MP's common fund. The majority didn't want it. Or are we so politically ingrained? Are we so partisan in nature that we can't even recognize when an issue is not partisan? The MP's common fund is for MPs, whatever party you are from. And the executive is to release it for MPs. So if that money is not coming, it affects all MPs. Why would only one half of the House be willing to visibly demonstrate their displeasure in not receiving it, while the other half pretends to be okay with it? Really? So nothing will unite the House? Right? Anyway, I found that amusing. Then the budget itself was read. After a 4-hour delay, I found it an anticlimax. There was absolutely, almost nothing new in it. The only news I can think of is that the road tolls will be restored next year. That's about it. Everything else was about adjusting some targets for the end of the year, which obviously you have to because of our performance so far this year. But that was it. Nothing else. Nothing else to discuss. And trust me, I've tried. I couldn't find anything. So we are in a very stagnant economy, where there is so little dynamism. The only things we were expecting was that they might come and grant a bit of relief in the run-up to an election and say that, okay, look, some of these taxes that don't make sense, we're going to remove them. I mean, why are we still paying a COVID tax? Why? What is it for? COVID levy. Why are we still paying it? Come on. What is it for? But they didn't remove it. I thought someone was going to be bold and remove the e-levy. Another failing tax. Didn't happen. So, honestly, I mean, what did you sit us down for 4 hours and then regale us for 1.5 hours for? What was it for? It was empty for me.
Lawyer, was it empty for you too? Or did you find some hope, some inspiration somewhere?
So let me take this opportunity to wish your lovely viewers a good evening. I enjoyed greeting them, so let me greet them, and also to say that I share Kojo's sentiment, except that I consider myself privileged to sit or to share a platform with D. Kojo Yankton. I was telling him that first I met him, I was starstruck. It's true, because I had been listening to him for a very long time, and he didn't know me, but I knew him, so I don't take it for granted that I've been granted this privilege, at least to rub shoulders with giants himself and Kwame likes calling me a senior, but it's same for him. I used to watch him before your station gave me this privilege. In fact, I must thank your entire station for this opportunity to at least say my small bit, and hope that at least it adds to the calls for proper governance. Before I jump on the budget, I must say that I'll add my voice to the US. There's a small bit, and I must say here that I love America. I'm a lover of America, unlike to you, and I've been following not just their politics but their history for a very long time. And they have their issues, but America has taught us what comes before you when you create systems. You deliberately create cultures. You deliberately create economic measures that will cause your economy to be 24 hours. At least they have taught us that, and because of that, I enjoy their politics. So
okay, like, can we please move on to the budget?
So no, let
you have nothing to say about America. Can we please move on to the budget?
Let me just
can we just move on to the budget?
I think I want to use this opportunity to commend Joe Biden and his handlers, and I don't think it's a secret, but I think if I was in America, I would have been a Republican. Like I would have been a conservative if I was in the UK. But I must commend them. Because they had the courage to put their nation before their individual political ambitions. Also put their party before Joe Biden's individual ambition. And I must commend them. And I wish the politicians in this country would take a cue from that and understand that they are there to serve the nation. And what you for their actions is what is in the best interest of the country. So I wish them best, all the best. Yes, it is an election between an ex-convict and the chief prosecutor. May the best one win. If I was in America, I would have voted for Trump, by the way. Even though he's an ex-convict, so I wish them all the best. And then they are still holding their touch insofar as democracy, constitutional democracy is concerned. About the budget, I think the emptiness of the budget gives us a lot to talk about. And it reflects what the president said last year. The fact that he had given up on his ability to resuscitate a dead economy. I think that's loss of hope reflected in the nature of the mid-year budget. That in spite of all the numerous problems that we have been dealt with, problems I think we are all aware, as in I don't need to rehash it. And I know you are going to disagree with me, but one of our fundamental problems is the fact that we don't have a private sector, and government has failed to direct policies at building a private sector, building the right economic environment that would attract investments. As in, we also the cement issue. I feel that it was an opportunity for government to use fiscal policy to put in place measures that would boost, let's say, an antitrust regime. You understand? Because it has the potential of attracting direct investments here. I would have thought that there would have been some stimulus, especially to SMEs, to enterprise, but there was nothing of that nature. I would have thought that they would have at least attempted to use this opportunity to reduce the cost of doing business here in terms of interest rates, in terms of an attempt to tackle the forex issue and all the issues that makes doing business in this country almost impossible. We're talking about you say nuisance, I call it some taxes. There are some taxes because you see when they came into power 2017, there was a host of abolishments. So they abolished a number of nuisance tax, which I would akin that to exercising demons. And then when they had done that, within 2 weeks, they went and invited to 2 times the demons declared by way of the taxes. Then they've crippled this economy. But I didn't see that in the mid-budget period. And then my feeling is that clearly the budget is born out of a government that has given up on its ability to do anything to the economy, and to reaffirm my belief that we need change. As in, if not for anything, they must go. And for me, that was my feeling for the budget, that this is a government that is at its wit's end. They have nothing new to offer. They themselves don't believe in the ability to attempt to give some sort of credibility to an economy that has lost credibility. And because of that, we should pack them. They should go and rest for some time and see if they can charge their batteries and come back probably after 100 years and see what they can do or what they can offer to our nation. So that was my feeling. So I agree with you, Ekojo, on your feeling, except to add that I think it's born out of a government that's essentially given up on the ability to do or to impact the economy in any way, and that's really sad.
Okay. Kwame.
All right, thank you. Let me also greet our viewers and say thank you for inviting me again today to have this discussion together with my seniors. I have very little to say about Kamala Harris and the American politics, etc. I just want to say that, I mean, it gives us a different perspective into the American political system. I am very happy that at least, you know, we are getting someone who is not your usual systemic person, you know, to lead the fight. Because I'm sure that if
who would that be?
I'm saying that I'm sure that if
which of them?
I'm talking about Kamala Harris, because I'm saying that if Biden had served his term, I'm not sure the baton would have been given to Kamala Harris. I'm sure she would have gone through some hurdle. You know, even if she was eventually going to get the opportunity, it would have been very difficult for her because she's not really a systemic person. But she brings into the fore some different, background. And by this I mean that she has, you know, Indian American descent, she's African American and things like that. So she brings that constituency. Then she's also been able to serve, you know, in the intelligence sector. You know, so for instance, she was with the Senate Intelligence, etc. So she also brings that experience to bear. She's also a very good debater. You know, she's able to debate and think on her feet. And I'm very sure that if she's given the opportunity, that's if nobody comes up to challenge her, she will give Trump, you know, a great battle. And I want to see how things pan out, because what happens in America invariably also has some effect on the politics in the sub-region. And so for proponents of people who say that women must be given the opportunity, I think that this is also another opportunity to see whether or not women can actually climb the ladder.
This one is a little more nuanced.
No, it's nuanced. And
you are not ready to get in the conversation, so I'm unable to have the conversation. So let's carry along. Let's go. This is a bit more nuanced than.
Why?
This one has a lot of branches and layers.
Why?
It's deep.
What is different about this?
Come on, let's go.
It's not. No, it's my time.
I'm sorry.
So what is different about this? Why do you think it's more nuanced? I think that. You know, so let's see how it pans out.
Right.
Hopefully, you know, we get the best out of that. The budget. I agree with lawyer Pierre Dankwa to a very minimal extent, beyond which I would say that there's a lot that happened in the budget. There's a lot that happened in the budget that didn't happen. So what that means is that a lot should have happened in the budget, but it didn't find its way into the budget. And I think Kojo mentioned one of such things, which is the issue relative to the e-levy, for instance, and the COVID tax and things like that. Ghanaians wanted something to happen, but that didn't happen, right? So for me, I think that this government did not take into proper consideration the current mood of the people. And as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, mid-year budget reviews are sort of to review the journey that we have embarked upon relative to our economic outlook, and to see whether or not we have made some mistakes, and to see whether or not we need to introduce new things and abolish things which are not necessarily helping the economy survive. Right? We didn't see that happen. And for me, that was a big blow. Because if you have a situation where a lot of the Ghanaian people are complaining about taxes that you introduce, which taxes have been affecting their businesses and things like that, I think that one of the things that you should have done as a listening government was to really look at that particular tax and see whether or not you could take it out and introduce something that would have been more bearable for the Ghanaian people. That did not happen. And for me, that is telling of how government doesn't really care about its citizens. You introduced the road tolls, and I think it was to be expected. People actually had this expectation that because of the way government is unable to raise revenue internally, I think that we're going to fall back on the road tolls to be able to raise enough revenue to augment the external borrowings that we do. Okay, so I mean, of course, we were expecting that to happen. But for me, what is most striking is the admission that albeit that we have seen some stability in terms of the economy, right? There's also that admission that that stability that we are experiencing is not a lasting, stability or a long-lasting stability. What this means is that the finance minister, after telling us that we are experiencing some economic stability, goes ahead to tell us that, we are getting some support, some IMF, some tranche of cash coming from the IMF, which is about $600 million. And then also some relief that we are getting from the Paris Club, that's about $34.8 million. And conclusively, what that means is that the economy is resuscitating a bit or stabilizing a bit by reason of the capital injection that we are getting from the IMF and also the relief. Bear in mind that that relief is only postponed, it's not forgiven. So that's not a debt that is forgiven, it's actually postponed, payment of which will be done in 2026. So it is an admission that even though we are seeing some positive outlook, that positive outlook of the economy is not etched in some pragmatic decisions that we took as a nation to restore our ailing economy. And it's as a result of some injections which we have received by reason of our debt restructuring agreements and things like that from the IMF. And for me, that's very worrying, that we are postponing the debt to 2026 and 2027 and 2028. What it means is that when you get to 2026, the economy will still suffer, because then you wouldn't have put in place internal shocks that will be able to withstand the pressures of the economy. Now, why am I saying this? We do know how economies thrive. And if you talk about your inflation, if you talk about your GDP, if you talk about your credit ratings and whatnot, right? They all find expression in how internally you are able to produce. So if you are not able to produce, and if you are an import-driven economy, it means that the economy will not be standing on the foundation of proper economic, design, but it is only on stilts which will wobble against some serious external shocks. In fact, the finance minister even admitted that we will continue to enjoy this sustainability if we do not in the future experience some external shocks. And given what we know, these external shocks that the finance minister was referring to would be maybe some unforeseeable war, maybe between Togo and Burkina Faso. Yes, because we are seeing that, I'm just saying. Or maybe between Zimbabwe and South Africa.
No. That will not be the unforeseeable.
No, I'm just saying.
That will not be the unforeseeable.
You see, but I'm just citing that as an example. That they are telling you that the current stability we are experiencing, okay, can only be sustained if in the future there is no external shock or shocks, okay, that will affect the economy. That's the point I'm making. So it could be anything. It could be another COVID-19. It could be another COVID 2024. All right. So it tells you that government has not deliberately or intentionally created policies which will ameliorate, these challenges that we are facing now. But this is more like a knee-jerk reaction. So there's a problem. Let's find a quick solution to it. But we are not really going into details to understand the underlying conditions which is affecting the economy for us to proffer better solutions to resolve those matters. And for me, that is very, very problematic. I mean, look, Ama, we import virtually everything in this country. So sugar. We import sugar, the last time I checked, over $161 million of sugar. Frozen chicken. So we import everything in this country, everything. Okay, including toothpick. So this is a country that is highly dependent on imports. And if you're a country that is not self-sufficient in terms of creating or building, infrastructures that will help stabilize your economy, and you are over-reliant on the imports that you make, then obviously you do not have an economy to begin with. Then your economy is only surviving by reason of these externalities. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we need to begin to have those conversations. At some point, we must have those conversations. And I think also that government should begin to think about, the average Ghanaian. And I'll be ending on that. That the young people in this country are not asking for too much. All they are saying is that you need to introduce policies that will enable, them to be able to work, create an enabling environment for the purposes of going about their business. Today, what are the policies that we develop? All the policies, from where I sit, all the policies that we create do not necessarily benefit the average Ghanaian. It is like policies that are created to further advance the aspirations of the rich and the mighty in this country. We do not create policies that will help address teething challenges confronting the average person who sells dog chains on the streets of Accra. So we need to find a way of bringing all these people into the fray so that we design a policy that will, affect each and every citizen in this country. And that will give us some headway in terms of relooking at our economy and bringing about the dynamic change that we are looking for.
Right. Thank you, Kwame. Let's go straight into the presidential debate issue. At some point in our subculture, it became a thing. Presidential debates became a thing. This was organized by the IEA, which our current EC boss, our current EC chair, Madam Jean Mensah, I don't know if she's the CEO or if she's a stakeholder, but I kind of associate IEA with Madam Jean Mensah. She was critical, or how do I say it? She was right in the mix there, somewhere. My questions are a lot. For me, ex-President John Dramani Mahama is famed to be a good communicator. Our current Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is famed to be a good communicator, right? With all of the, forums and things that he's done. So if you have two good communicators vying for presidency, and there's a clamor for them to have a debate, on the face of it, I don't see what the problem is, right? I think that it will be great for us to have that debate. However, perhaps the underlying question really should be, have we benefited from past presidential debates? And do we find the exercise by itself as useful and as important for the upcoming election? I think once we answer that question, then we can come to this issue of should they debate or should they not debate? And then I'm going to ask personal questions. So it's like you're writing like a thesis. And then the personal question for me is: do you think that we should have a presidential debate, and why? Why, if you think yes, we should, or why not if you think no, we shouldn't? I'll start with you, lawyer.
First of all, we don't have two presidential candidates. Why do we want to make this between Mahama and Bawumia? I don't know. It's serious, because essentially what we are then saying is, you can be the best material, but if the MPP or the NDC do not endorse you, then you do not have a chance.
Unfortunately.
But and that's why the two parties are messing up.
Unfortunately.
But that's why the two parties are messing up, because I hold a strong view that the biggest problem we are facing in this country is because of the political culture we have created. And that culture includes we Ghanaians giving the impression that unless the MPP or the NDC endorses you as their presidential candidate, then you have no chance. You see, at least we've seen the consequence of that thinking. Now, what that thinking does is it enables charlatans, people who have no business being in leadership. Because one issue that has vexed me is what kind of system did we create that enabled Nana Akufo-Addo, that caused him to thrive, that caused him to sprout, that has caused him to meet this calamity of leadership to Ghanaians, to the extent that the very belief of the people of Ghana, or acceptance of the people of Ghana for democracy as a system of choice is being questioned, as per the recent Afro Barometer report. But that will happen because of the culture, the political culture we are creating. So let us be clear, we have other presidential candidates, and unless they are all included in any debate, and that debate will lack credibility. That's the first point I'd want to make. Two, also, now we are not, you see, if we understand that we are going to, the reason why there's a reason or there's a job for which we want to make you president, if we understand that, then we shouldn't be having an argument as to the necessity of a debate. Of course, we should have a debate. It shouldn't matter that the people who are going to debate probably have lost some form of credibility because of their past history as leaders. But we should have a debate, and it should be a culture that we should encourage in this country. Because you want a citizenry that are interested in how governance is done, or why people want to be president, and want to test why they want to be president under some form of scrutiny. And one of the ways in which we can test what they say they will do by scrutinizing them beyond what they've done in their past or what we know them to stand for is also a debate where we can ask them, we can put what they are saying they will do under some form of interrogation. So for me, I think that it's not something that we should have a debate, and that debate shouldn't be limited to just John Mahama and Maame, only because they are the candidates at the NPP and the
front runners.
I don't use the word front runners. What are they running in front of? Only by virtue of the fact that they are NPP and DC.
The ones with the numbers.
Have we voted yet? Is it because of you think? I was saying this. You see, there's a huge misconception in this country. Oh, they are enough. I can tell you, me at first I believed in that until I entered into the system. And I realized that they only have no more than at least let me talk for the NPP. I can't talk for the NDC because I haven't been there. But I can bet you they don't have more than 500,000 people. I can tell you they don't have more than 500,000 people. Yes, but there is this person, NPP, and they are messing up. They go and take money and choose anybody at all to become president and say they are front runners. No, we shouldn't. It's like we've sat down because of this deadly system we have created. Then I said, one question that has vexed me. I don't know if you have not been vexed. But it's vexed me, and it's a worry. That what kind of environment, system did we create that enabled this kind of non-leader to come and lead our country and take us on the cuffs, all of us, of calamity? Because right now, under his watch, our economy has lost credibility. Political leadership has lost credibility. We are divided. He has enforced that culture, that parochial political culture in this country, whose sole consideration is not what is in our collective interest as a people, but whose sole consideration is what is in my personal interest. This culture that can sustain democracy. And the question is, it can't just be Nanado's fault. We are all to blame. You see, and in fact, if you push, if I have time, I'll be pointing at the journalists the most. But all of us, myself included, what kind of culture did we allow that enabled, in spite of all the clear signs, enabled him to sprout, to ascend to this position of leadership, the highest position of service, and what he's used that position to do? Because right now, whether you like it or not, political leadership has lost credibility in this country. It's one of the problems whoever becomes president must deal with. And we must ask him what plans does he have to restore the confidence of people of Ghana in political leadership. Our economy has lost credibility. And you want us to consider or to continue this negative system where, because the politicians think that, for NPP and DCD, if I manage to find a way of getting into a strategic position, that I'm a step away from being president of Ghana. To the extent that people will pay money, bitter people, just to be, because they know that the history of this country has taught us that once you are nominated as the presidential candidate of NPP or NDC, then you are most likely to, at some point in time, become president of Ghana. And that's why we all saw the Kumasi calamity and turn our brother here into Prophet One. That's what caused it. So I think the call on Ghanaians going to 2024 is to begin the process of changing that thinking. You see, no debate in this country will have credibility if it does not include all the people.
All the presidential aspirants.
All of them must be there. And we must break this duopoly, because the only thing it does is that it gives or it enables charlatans. And we see one charlatan, Anado. You see one charlatan take advantage of that system to use the party to ascend into power and meet unto us this calamity. We should, it is in our interest, we know that we do not enable this negative system, that we break this culture and create an environment which will enable right leadership, not Koshoko leaders to come and declare country for us.
Kwame, I'll come to you. Because I see you sipping on your tea, I'll come back. Kwame,
Okay.
Should we have the debates? Should we not have the debates? Have you found past presidential debates useful?
I think the determination of that ought to be from the Ghanaian people.
Right.
And when I say the Ghanaian people, I don't mean NDC or MPP. Each and every Ghanaian in this country. And debates are good because it brings out the positives and the negatives.
I'm asking
we are
you,
able to
Kwame.
hold on. We are able to understand and appreciate what policies each of these people are bringing. Okay, so that when you tell me 24 hours, the debate will bring out what you mean by 24 hours. When you tell me you are going to give phones to young people and they will pay at a cost of 1 CD for a number of years, what informed that policy and why are you bringing it at this material moment? What will be a policy direction? What is your foreign policy? What is your economic strategy? How are you going to resuscitate the ailing economy in terms of defense? We do know that even in Togo and Burkina Faso, we are learning that there are some issues which are springing out up there. There's a potency of that, finding its way into Ghana. What is your defense strategy? What is your strategy in terms of energy? What is your strategy in terms of health? What is your education strategy? So the debate will bring out all of these specific elements of your manifesto for that you are going to use to convince the Ghanaian people to vote for you. So I find it very strange when you have political actors and players who have benefited from this stupid system, which is not allowing for proper accountability before elections and accountability after elections. So I find it very troubling that you have the minority leader who is saying that Dr. Bawumia should debate Isaac Adongo and his colleagues before he gets the opportunity to debate Dr. Bawumia. I find it very troubling.
You mean Mahama?
Yes,
before
I find it very troubling.
To debate Mahama.
Ama, you know exactly what I'm saying, so let's stick to that. I don't want to lose my chain of thought.
Educating our viewers. You made a mistake, I made a correction.
Okay,
you can
thank you
move
very
ahead.
much for the correction.
Yes.
But the point is that I am saying that President Mahama, is not a pious human being, okay? It's not sacrosanct. And he's not somebody who is not new. Sorry, who is new to the Ghanaian people. He's somebody that we've experienced before. You are seeking re-election. Convince the Ghanaian people, not your NDC followers, not the MPP followers, but the generality of the Ghanaian people. Convince them by giving them pragmatic solutions for the purposes of addressing all the challenges that we have through the debate. The debate, you see, whether you like it or not, there are several other people. I keep telling people that elections are won not by reason of the following of the political parties. Because you are talking about numbers. MPP may have 500,000. NDC may have 500,000. But the people who determine who eventually emerges as the leader of this country are the people who are in the middle. The people who maybe they are even NDC or maybe they are MP, but they are still in doubt as to who they should vote for. The debate will give them that opportunity to listen and understand how genuine the leaders are so that they will go and vote for them. If you come and tell me that because Nana Akufo-Addo decided not to debate John Dramani Mahama, that is enough basis for you to refuse, to debate Dr. Bawumia, then I find that to be, with the greatest of respect, very disrespectful to all of us. That should not be a defining, reason for why you would say that Mahama should not debate Nana Bawumia. In any event, what is this nonsense about driver's mate? So the person is a driver's mate, so you wouldn't have an experienced driver debate. Why? If you've had an experienced driver, and the driver was not using the car well, the car owner took the car back, and you want to now come and drive the car. There's already an existing mate, okay? Who has there's that possibility that mate who is currently driving the car will become the substantive driver. And the mate is telling you that I'm better than you. You, the driver, who mismanaged that car, or in the estimation of the Ghanaian people, you misuse the car, for which reason the car was taken from you. Come and now demonstrate to the car owner that, oh, Master, the time I was using the car, you did not understand me. I was making the sales. You just didn't see how I was doing it. But now I am going to show you that I'm a better driver than even the one that you gave the car to. Come and explain to us. How do you then say that because Bawumia says he's a driver's mate, then it means that he doesn't have what it takes to debate former President Mahama, who is an experienced driver? Who determines what an experienced driver is? Okay? Would you say that the experienceness, if there's any word like that, of John Dramani Mahama is because he's been president before, it's because he's been a driver before. Then what about drivers who are so experienced that they drive into ditches?
That's
yes.
just experience.
No. What's experience? Experience is the longevity. The experience is that you have actually been there. You have seen the situation. So there's bad experience, there's good experience.
We are not hoping for bad experience.
So that's the
point.
point.
Good experience. Bad experience is not experience. Nobody's out there bad experience.
We sit, and look, I am being very frank and open. How do you determine what is bad and what is good? It does not lie in the mouth of the followers of the NDC to determine to the Ghanaian people that John Mahama is a good driver. No. It is the Ghanaian people who decide for themselves. But how do they do that? Why? You think that you simply coming out to pontificate? We have had enough of those promises. That you go around like what Dr. Baumia did prior to the 2016 elections, trumpeting, okay, pontificating, writing 120 or 100 or something, 70 questions, okay, and expecting some answers. We have moved away from that kind of politics. And I think that, you see, people do not appreciate where we are now in our political experiment. People don't. Especially these political, they think that we are still in the 1992s. Where they will come and they will just give you slogans and they will tell you things and people will go and vote for them by reason of how handsome this person is or how tall this person is or how short or how the person is saying that I'm from a rich home. So what do you think we care about that now? Where we are in this current system, I am telling you that people are looking for answers and solutions. People are not looking for promises. Why can't we promise? We cannot come and sit here and promise. I can come and promise. I can give you one bicycle, one motorbike. Yes, that's a promise.
No, the current promise is one phone
absolutely.
To be paid once a day.
You see, and that is why
you
see, it has been met with brute resistance because people have had enough of that. But that doesn't also mean that promise will not convince somebody to go and vote for Baumia. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we are at a stage where there's some, I don't know how to say, undulating understanding of the political system. People just have different perceptions. People have different perspectives. People view things differently from how they used to view things 6, 10, 15 years ago. Back in the day, you would go to the village and go and give people that thing that we used to cook, how do we call it? Maggi cube, salt, oil, cooking oil. People will vote for you. Today, when we did the by-election in that constituency, what's the name? The one in the central region, what's the name? As in, people took those things that were brought to them by the politicians and still voted against the MPP. That should tell you that people have become wiser by the day. Now, how do you convince somebody that, okay, I'm a better alternative. I want to improve the lives of the Ghanaian people. I want to further advance your aspirations. I want to take you from where we are now to the promised land. How do you convince them? The how is more important than the message that you are putting out. And I keep saying that people have had enough. So come and tell us through a debate. Why are they running away? What do they have to hide? If genuinely you want to serve the Ghanaian people, all of us, not just NDC people, then come and explain to us how you intend to implement, in fact, hatch, implement, execute, and sustain that policy that you are introducing. So if you are telling me that free SHS, you want to introduce free SHS, come and tell me how you intend to sustain that. How you intend to ensure that the implementation of that policy is not for the purposes of just implementation, but for the purposes of also bringing out quality education to change the educational system that we have in this country. If you want to review it, admit that yes, I want to review it because I have noticed that we are not churning out students who understand education and quality. We're not churning out quality. That's essentially what I want to say. So you can explain to us that when I intend to do X, Y, Z to review it, but I'm not cancelling it. Okay? So come and explain to us. So this call for debate, I think it's a step in the right direction. The question is, the people who are calling for the debate, are they the ones who must call for the debate? I.e., it comes to credibility. If Kojo Yankson and Joy FM decides that they are going to call for the debate, I will support it. Okay? If Imani Africa decides that they are going to call for a debate, I will support it. Third party calls for the debate, I will support it. But this debate must not be a debate between just the NDC and the MPP. It's a debate that must bring all the political parties together. Because ideas are not just created in the minds of one particular people. It is created in the minds of many. So you will have an experience, let's say in education, that you will bring to the fore. And through that debate, through that discussion, we will be able to even create policies out of it, which will help sustain that which is already in motion. So I don't find anything wrong with the debate at all.
Nice, Kwame.
Let's be dispassionate about it. Let's not be partisan about it. Let's be Ghanaian about it. And this thing about it is NDC, MPP, we must stop it. We have gotten to a point where it must be an all-inclusive exercise, Ama.
Right.
That this democracy that we are enjoying, this young democracy that we've been practicing, this democracy that we want to continue to enjoy, must not at all be promoted on the altar of partisanship. But we must build it as our child. We must build it as a system that all of us must benefit from. And in the final analysis, who benefits? All of us will benefit.
Right.
Thank you very much, Ama.
Kojo, debates.
Hey, today I'm going to be the calm one on the show.
Yeah. I don't know why blood is so hot today.
Yeah, it's a very contentious issue. Very contentious. I completely understand the emotion with which my colleagues are addressing the matter. Because it's another reminder of what childish hypocrites politicians are. And you see, not only are they childish hypocrites, but they also assume a certain general level of stupidity among the electorate. I'll start with the NPP because on this particular topic, I think they are the lesser offender. But they are still offenders. I'll start with them. You see, it's all well and good to call for a debate. It's all well and good to say, I'm ready to debate, I'm ready. I mean, that boldness and whatever, that alone will convince some people that you have something to say. And I must say that on the one occasion when we've heard the two candidates speak on the same platform, I think it was at the CEO Summit, John Mahama was present. Dr. Bawumia joined via Zoom or something from Canada. On that occasion, it was quite obvious that Dr. Bawumia did a much better job than John Mahama on that occasion. But even watching that made me see that, no, we have to have a debate. We have to have the two of them on an equal playing field with, a properly objective arbiter who will ask questions and raise issues that will allow for us to really test the mettle of every person who wants to be president. Not just those two, by the way, and I agree with you on that. We need a platform where we can evenly assess this. And by the way, is it that they haven't realized that any other means of communicating with voters before an election is biased? Apart from a debate, every other thing that they will do is biased. Because if you go around doing rallies, will somebody who doesn't plan to vote for you come to your rally? Everybody who turns up at your rally plans to vote for you. So it's an echo chamber. You just go and be shouting at to people who agree with you, and they'll be shouting back to you. You shout, 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 you go hoarse, and then you go home. You think you've made progress. You've achieved nothing. You've won not even one vote. That's what a rally is. But those who are going to make the difference in the election are those who need to make up their minds. And those people need information to make up their minds. If they already had enough information, they would have made up their minds. They would have joined one party or the other. They clearly don't have enough information. That's why they haven't made up their mind yet. And you are avoiding the opportunity to give them information. What's wrong with you? Anyway, I said the MPP are culprits, but to a lesser extent. Yes, because I think the way in which they are calling for the debate is in some way disingenuous. they are being boisterous and bolstering, and I think Dr. Bawumia said John Mahama is afraid to debate him because he's empty. What's all that? What's all that? You are ready to debate. Say, I'm ready to debate. And then let's see about creating a debate. That's it. There's no need for you to come and be... No, there's no need for that. And I think the posturing now, especially now that they've realized that there are lots of people on the NDC who... I don't know what's wrong with the NDC on this thing. But now that they've realized that there's some defective thinking in the NDC, they're taking full advantage of it, making it seem as if they are the righteous ones ready for a debate. But have we all forgotten? Have we all forgotten that in 20 years?
Kojo, why do you think, and I'm trying to, in understanding all of this.
I hope I don't forget what I was going to say.
Please don't forget. I'm trying to understand, and I'm asking this question for the viewer, because as I sit here, why do you think the NDC, or some elements within the NDC, is refusing to debate?
I'll come to that. I was going to say, have we all forgotten that in 2012, was it 2012? It was 2016, in the run-up to the 2016 election. When John Mahama was calling for debate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said, John Mahama should go and debate the market women, the spare parts dealers. That's what he said. Today they are saying the same thing to him. He doesn't understand. You see the hypocrisy I'm talking about?
So it's incumbency,
childish
isn't it?
Hypocrisy. No, it's not incumbency. In the past, it was the incumbent who didn't want to debate. John Mahama was the first incumbent who wanted to debate. And the opposition were like, yeah. But before him, the incumbents refused to debate, starting with Kufuor. No, actually Rawlings, right? Yeah. So no, it was a back in the trend when John Mahama said, I'm ready to debate. And rather, the NPP said no. Anyway, for me, it doesn't make a difference. I don't care whether it's the incumbent or not. The idea that you would say, I won't debate, do you not see what sort of ridiculous disadvantage you put yourself to? Listen to what the NDC has been saying. Isaac Adongo says, we will not give Bawumia a debate for him to revive his ailing political career. Did Isaac Adongo not realize what he was saying? How would the debate revive Bawumia's ailing career? Does it mean they expect Bawumia to win? That's the only way that a debate will revive Bawumia's ailing career. If John Mahama wins the debate, does that revive Bawumia's ailing career? So the only way that it will revive Bawumia's ailing career is if Bawumia will win. So Adongo is telling us that they expect Bawumia to win. Then the other one will come and say, driver's mate cannot come and debate experienced driver. So you have an experienced driver, and a driver's mate wants to debate him. Debate him and finish him. Finish him. You are an experienced driver. Finish the man. And then another one will come and say, what? If you want to debate, go and do a meet the press first before you come and talk about debate with John Mahama. Why? Because John Mahama did meet the press, so you to go and do meet the press. What's that? Why must one happen before the other? Why must meet the press be the condition upon which a debate will happen? Why? What's the relationship? If you debate, debate. If you debate, say we can't, we're afraid. Otherwise, debate. Honestly, there is no sensible reason throughout the Fourth Republic. Nobody who has refused the debate has been right. Nobody who has ever said, I will not debate, has been right. Whatever strategy it is you think you are doing, it's ridiculous. Because without a debate, everybody you are talking to is already your voter. So those of us sitting at home watching you on TV, listening to you speak in artificially created environments, making your point in an unchallenged space, you want us to make our decisions based on that? It means you think we are stupid. we have to have what is as close as possible to a scientific environment where questions will be put to you impartially. At the same time, you can challenge each other. You can address the challenges of the things you have been saying in the echo chambers. That is the point of a debate. And at no point in our fourth republic has someone been right for refusing to debate. And whoever it is that is advising the NDC that it is right to refuse to debate, they are not smart.
Okay. None of you have answered my question.
Please.
Have we benefited from... Okay, I think we figured it out in the course of you speaking. Have we benefited, from past debates? Is there something we can point to and say that, and this is a general question. This has nothing to do with this present issue of should we debate or should we not debate. That's a different conversation. But generally, do we think that we've, the debates we've had in the past, because, I can speak to the US system of debate and say that in their instance, you can point to positions people have held on specific issues, like, this policy, you said no about, you said yes, answer the reason. On hindsight, you were right, you were wrong, So I find them a bit more constructive than the debates that we have had, here. Perhaps because of the kind of politics that we do. So let's have a general conversation around presidential debates in Ghana. Perhaps even the format it takes, and if we have enough information to even drill the kind of answers that we deserve.
See, it's a question that you can easily, in my view, answer yes or no to. Because, like you yourself already said, because of the kind of politics we will do here. But it is a process that we must insist on because it has the potential of creating the right political culture we need to sustain a democracy. Because to sustain a democracy, then we need a culture that would tolerate disagreements. You understand? People, and what better way of disagreeing than to debate? A system that will hold people accountable. So there's a bigger problem in our politics that makes it very difficult for us to benefit from just one singular act of people debating, because we have a system that is not participatory enough. And it's not participatory enough because the citizens do not have the kind of information or do not even understand what we are doing. You understand? By virtue, probably the fact that I'm a lawyer, I understand that when I'm going to vote, I'm not going to vote for the party, for president. But that's by virtue of the fact that probably I'm a lawyer. So I understand that executive power is not placed in the hands of the political party, it's placed in the hand of the executive. So for me, anytime I voted, I try and find a way of understanding the persons who they've put up. But how many Ghanaians, as in the media, we are going to NPP, NDC, you call people in the NPP and they tell you that they don't trust in His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but they are going to vote for the NPP. You understand? So there's a bigger problem. There's a bigger problem that we need a concerted effort at solving. And that problem for me is the fact that our democracy over a generation has failed to build that right culture that will sustain it. Because if we had the right culture, then of course you can point to the benefits we've gleaned from debates. But we have a culture where the politicians shift. So Kojo rightly said, in 2016, Dr. Bawumia said, no, go and debate what's called the market women. Today, Mama, who is calling for such a debate, is telling Bawumia same. So there's no principle. If you take the way Nanado has handled his presidency, what didn't we hear about value for money? As in, we wanted to cut off a woman's head because she did that 800 bars branding a contract. But we have an issue under the watch of the people who were shouting horse because of that contract, who did not find anything wrong with it was got $34 million contract being cooked for somebody. We all had the disdain when an attempt was made to give Ibrahim Mahama a concession. You understand? And there's people who showed that massive disdain do not have anything about Donald Trump attempting to buy SNIT. The fact is, it is difficult to say how debates have benefited us because of the lack of principle in our politics, because our politicians do not have consistent positions. They do not. They just say things that they think would benefit them in winning an election, because their focus is always to win the election, not to govern. And we can only change that if we reverse the failure. And you see, and it's all of our failing to build that right culture, the culture that will create people participating in Adom. Unless we do that, then we will struggle to answer this question. But of course, it does not mean that we shouldn't have the debate. What I'm saying, is a very baby step at creating that culture that will tolerate disagreement and also hold people accountable. And it's for that reason why, even though I'm of the view that really I can't point to any tangible benefit that the debates, and that is because of the kind of politics we do here. The politics that is parochial in nature, other than patriotic. Because what fuels the decision of the political parties is what will enhance their personal political ambitions, their personal interests, the interests of their political parties, as against the interests of Ghana. But we can only change that if we change the course of our politics by deliberately creating that right political culture. Once we do that, once the politicians understand that, we will hold them accountable every step of the way. In fact, I don't know if you followed the proceedings in the U.S. Congress concerning the Security Service lady.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
That because of imagine that there was no issue about partisanship here. They were all pursuing an American agenda, to the extent that she has to pay the ultimate price in terms of politics because of the attempt on Donald Trump's life. That's the kind of politics we should but we can only do that if we create the right political culture. And so far as that's concerned, we have failed, all of us.
Right. I want us to move quick now to the $34.9 million. Because of time, I want us to quickly go straight there.
Different view, yeah.
Make it in 2 seconds.
Then let's proceed.
Yes, let's proceed. Let's go to $49.9 million ambulance deal. Yes, Kwame.
I think you should start with someone else. Let me organize my
re-engineer your thoughts. Kojo, can I start with you?
Yeah, okay. So Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has shared the details of this deal. It's yet another disappointment in how we run our country. So the health ministry engaged this group to take responsibility for the maintenance of the 307 ambulances that they bought in 2018. At the time they were engaged, they were not even a company yet. They were not registered. But the government of Ghana was able to do business with them. At some point, they then registered. But there was no contract between them and the government of Ghana. But the government of Ghana was still able to pay them. Eventually, they signed a contract several months after they started doing the job. A couple of years down the line, the Auditor General looked into their work, did a performance audit, and discovered that this company has been over-invoicing the government. So basically, they've been cheating the government, charging us more than they should. Not only have they been over-invoicing us, but they have also been using Ghana government staff, ambulance service staff, and ambulance service facilities to carry out the maintenance that they are over-invoicing us for. Right? So they obviously think we are complete fools. By the way, I don't know if you remember, about 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago, there was a story about an ambulance that was seen loading cement.
Yes.
That ambulance was with this company, Service Ghana, whatever. They were supposed to be servicing it, and they were using it to transport cement. These people obviously take us for fools. So what do we do as a government? Now that our auditor has told us that these people are cheating us, they are taking us for fools, the media has revealed what they are doing with our ambulances instead of servicing them. And by the way, currently as we speak, according to the Ghana Ambulance Service, only about 70% of the ambulances are on the road. 30% are not. 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. 6-year-old ambulances out of commission. 6-year-old. Can you imagine someone buys a car and after 6 years, the car is out of commission? What level? And it's an ambulance. It's not like a trot. It's not a trot. It's an ambulance, an emergency vehicle. After 6 years, it's out of commission. That's the kind of maintenance that this company has been doing. Then 5 days before Ken Ofori-Atta leaves office, he signs an agreement for almost 35 million Joe Biden dollars. I'm not talking Zimbabwean dollars. United States dollars, almost 34.9 million US dollars for the provision of spare parts for 307 ambulances. It comes to about $113,000 per ambulance. That is more than the cost of an ambulance for maintaining it, spare parts. Some of these ambulances, the only thing you will ever replace on them will be tires. Some of them maybe you replace mirror. Maybe some of them you change some light bulb or something. It's not all of them that will require every part to be changed. Some, yeah, maybe you have to change the engine, whatever. But generally, across board, you will not be spending more than the cost of the car to maintain it. But government of Ghana was willing to pay this company more than the cost of each vehicle just to provide spare parts for it. So who is behind this company? And how is government willing to do such business with such a person? Then we find out one of the directors of this company is somebody called Stephen Okoro. Who is Stephen Okoro? Well, Stephen Okoro happens to be either the director or secretary of 3 other companies with the daughters of the president. Daughters of glorious Nanado. 3 companies. In one of them, the majority shareholder was Kelly Gajepo, who used to be a government appointee. He used to be board chair of ECG. Do you now realize who Stephen Okoro is? Oh, and by the way, I don't know if this has been said anywhere, but our checks have revealed that Stephen Okoro and John Nkrumah Akufo-Addo have a child together. Oh. So it's not just business that they do well. Oh. Their parents, their co-parents.
They parent well too.
Yes. So he is the president's granddaughter's father. The president's daughter's baby daddy is fleecing the state. And the state is responding by giving him more money. There, I've said it. If I'm lying, they should come and tell me that John Nkrumah and Stephen Okoro don't have a child together. You should come and tell me. So this is what we are doing to Ghana. How does the president feel? Now that the story is going on, how does he feel? If you want to make money, don't come into my government. This is what he's doing. I'm going to use the Anas approach. This is what he's doing. Never before have I been more disappointed. Never before has a leader shown such promise that even his opponents believed he would do something good. And then you come and your daughter and her baby daddy are robbing us. And you are quiet. Where is he? Where is the president? Where is he? I hear he's gallivanting around somewhere in Africa, talking to other presidents, telling them to stem the tide of illicit flow of funds out of their country. He is advising them to do that. That's President Akufo-Addo's advice to his fellow presidents. They should stem the tide of illicit flow of funds out of. Anyway, he's right, because a lot of African presidents do that. They have many different ways of doing it. Some of them will take a trusted friend or employee and make him an ambassador at large, so that he can travel around the country and nobody will check his luggage, so that he can use that to fly bales of money out of the country. Some presidents do that, so he should advise them. It's not good. It shouldn't happen. Meanwhile, at home, his daughter and her baby daddy are robbing us. Do you know what $35 million could do? We couldn't find 7 million cedis to stop people from dying because they can't get dialysis. We couldn't find it. But this same, by the way, they paid, when Ken Ofori-Atta signed that dastardly deal, he immediately authorized the payment of $10 million. She said so there and then, before he left office, and said that the remaining $24.9 million, do you know where it should come from? NHIE. The same NHIE that you and I, when we go to the hospital, it can't pay. It can't pay for our medication. Me, I'm diabetic. My treatment is supposed to be covered by the NHIE. Every hospital I go to, when I tell them what medicine I need and they look at the price, one injection is about 600 cedis. They tell me they don't have. I go to 37. Good afternoon, 37. I go to 37. I show my NHIE card. They say they don't have. Then I leave and I send my driver with money, and he can get the medicine in the same pharmacy. Because and it's not their fault. I don't even blame them. I don't blame them. If they give me that medicine for free, they'll go bankrupt. Because the money will never, the payment will never come. The NHI will not be able to pay for it. Because they are busy giving the money to Jankroma and her baby daddy. So me, I should die. Look, should I go on? Because there's more.
It's time. It's time. Okay.
You know, it's fine. It's fine.
If you can go on within the next 2 seconds.
I think it's better we stop there, honestly. Because the truth of the matter is that for every day that the president stays silent, he's sending us a message. He's telling us who he thinks we are. A bunch of fools. So let's see if tomorrow too he will insult us, or whether at some point he will actually own up. Because this one is shame, complete shame. You have to own up and say, I have failed. You have to own up, put your hand up and say, I've messed up. This is what I've permitted to happen in my name. That my daughter's baby daddy can, hey, Amma, shut me up. So
I have, Kujo. Kwame.
I'll be gracious enough to add my time to yours. No, because I mean, it's still an unfolding story. So I have nothing really to say. So Kojo,
let's come to this issue of what should happen. What do you think should happen in this instance? I mean, the Honorable Okudzeto Blackwell has come up with countless, issues. He unearthed the Cathedral one. He recently unearthed the Smith one. Now we have this one, the $39 million, dollars. I think so far, the one that has had, some kind of finality has been the hotels one, the Smith, state capture one. And that is because, essentially, organized labor took it upon itself to take on the fight and actually gave out a day and said, on this day, there's going to be a standstill, if nothing is done, which had then Rock City pulling out and this one pulling out. So we've never had the states, the system, the government do anything about any of the scandals that have come out? Correct me. What do you think is going to happen with this one too?
Is going to happen when the perpetrator is the government itself.
So nothing will happen?
The perpetrator is the government itself. The perpetrator is Leonardo himself. I think Kojo was very charitable by asking the president to say something. And I say Kojo was charitable here because I'm sure we all know that he's the brain behind it. And I've said it elsewhere, I've said it here before, I'll say it again. His agenda was never to... His agenda wasn't Ghana. His agenda was his personal agenda. His agenda is what we are seeing. His agenda is what Brian Champon is doing. His agenda is what he's sitting down. A trust has been created in him. His party politics are doing. They're going to see. His agenda is to see his grandchild benefit. That's his agenda. So, Ama, what do you expect? And he knows that he has a red docile citizen who won't follow or won't give credence to what Madsen said a long time ago. And when it comes to limiting government, it comes to limiting abuse of the use of government, then the biggest institution that limits that abuse is not parliament, is not the courts, it's the people. It's the people. And my personal view is that we missed a bit. I mean, you were saying that we brought finality to the hotel one. But in my view, and that is my personal view, that we missed an opportunity. Because see, the only way, or voting isn't the only way you can constitutionally change a government. That is not the only way. Because our constitution says that when, or is the duty of every Ghanaian to fight and defend the constitution. Our constitution also says, and that finds a credence in the term of the oath the president took. That one, he's taken an oath to be faithful to Ghana. Two, he's taken an oath to protect, preserve, and defend the constitution of Ghana. Three, he's taken an oath to dedicate himself to the well-being of Ghana. And that if he should break any of the oath that he has taken, that he's going to submit himself to the laws of Ghana and suffer pain by virtue of that. So very clearly, the president has shown us, and there's incontrovertible evidence that the president is using the policy I've given him not to be faithful to Ghana, because clearly he's not faithful to Ghana. He's not faithful to be to Ghana insofar as he sits down and allow his daughter, the father of his grandchild, to fleece the state in the manner they are fleecing. He sits down and watches his minister, who is using his powers that we gave him, and so ought not to use those powers in a manner that is adverse to the purpose for which we gave the president those powers. And the president has not sacked him. He's not called him to order. So clearly he's not faithful to Ghana. He has been unfaithful to Ghana. If he says and allows by example to do what it, and he had to take people, he had to take organized labor to stop that. But the president didn't stop that. He has not been faithful to Ghana, where he breaches the trust created in him. When he says and allow his party apparatus to steal the property of Ghana, because the minerals in their natural state in Ghana is for the people of Ghana, for which the president has a trust has been created in the president. He has not been faithful to Ghana. He has not been faithful to Ghana when he's appointed NPP apparatchiks onto the EC. That's undermining the integrity of our elections. He's not been faithful to Ghana. You understand? He's breached that oath to defend, protect, and defend the constitution of Ghana when he allowed his interior minister to say, and not sack him, that he's reserved 30 slots to MPP parliamentary candidates. So what business does he have been there? What business does he have been there when he's breached his oath to dedicate himself to the well-being of all Ghanaians and be fair to all manner of people? When he has the temerity to look in the eyes of people of a country and tell them that, listen, I won't bring development to you, or I did not bring development to you because you did not vote for my MP. You understand? He's breached that oath when he tells the people of or when he told the people of Ejeso that, listen, I'm not going to bring development to you unless you vote for my MP. So why is he still there? You understand? And the people of Ghana should gather the courage to demonstrate. To demonstrate. And that's what I mean by legally. I don't believe we won't do any coup d'etat. But we must demonstrate, we must, and within democracy is our right to demonstrate. And call for the resignation, for the submission to the laws of Ghana by the president, because he's breathed the oath he took. He's breathed the oath he took. That's the only way his calamitous leadership, his usage of his position in a manner which is adverse to our collective interests, his breach of the oath he took, that's the only way he can have consequence to that. And he will never have consequence if we think that he himself is going to do anything. No, it is up to me, the people of Ghana, and I'm not talking about going to vote. I'm not talking about going to vote, because within our constitutional rights is a right not only to defend our constitution but also to demonstrate. So to take it a step further, what organized labor did, to demonstrate and call on the president. I'm calling on him to resign, to submit himself to the laws of Ghana, suffer pain for them, because he's breached every oath he took. He's caused our constitutional democracy to lose credit. Right now, leadership doesn't have credibility anymore, and he's used the power we have given him to steal from the country. He's stealing from the country. He's stealing from the country, and he's destroying the very soul of this country. And the only people that can hold him accountable, that can cause him to suffer consequence, is the people of Ghana. He will stand up, demonstrate, and call for the president to resign. I think we should have done that a long time ago. When last year in August, he said that he does not have the solution to economic problems. Then what business does he have still being president of Ghana?
Can I just say how disappointed I am? This 2022 Auditor General's report came up to the Public Accounts Committee. They debated it there. Apparently, all they said was, ambulance service, don't do that again, okay? Ministry of Health, don't do that again, okay? Which has allowed for that company to continue working for government of Ghana and be paid almost $35 million subsequent to the Parliamentary Accounts Committee being told that this company has been trying Ghana Chobo, over invoicing us and using our own people to do the job that they are over invoicing us for. Public Accounts Committee did not do anything about that. They should have blacklisted the company. The Auditor General, I'm disappointed in him too. Is he allergic to the power to disallow and surcharge? His predecessor has shown that it's possible. You, since you came, it's like you that's the part of the manual you haven't read yet. So you identify everybody who is robbing us and do nothing about it, as if you don't have the power to do anything about it. So the government officials that paid them, nothing happened to them. The government officials that paid those over invoices, nothing is going to happen to them. Which is why Ken Ofori-Atta had the temerity to come and even pay them more. So I am deeply disappointed. As for Parliament, I don't even know what to say to them anymore. It's as if there's only one member of Parliament. As if Okudzeto Ablakwa is the only person who knows that it is their role to give oversight to the executive. The rest of them don't know. I'm so disappointed in them. And I mean, how sustainable is it? Can one person provide oversight for the whole of the executive?
We had Honorable Sohini say last week that there were some things that he himself had unearthed too, and he himself was also.
Why should it be on an individual basis? Why is it just one or the other? When the entire institution is there and paid to do this. As for Park there, look, who has the authority to just fire committee members? Who has the job to do that? Look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. On my social media, I'm going to post the names of every single member of the Public Accounts Committee that presided over this Auditor General's report. If you are a constituent in any of their constituencies, advise yourself. Don't send these people back to Parliament to come and do this to us. We beg. $39 million. And by the way, that's just the tip of the iceberg. This company has been paid since 2018 or whenever it is that they were contracted. They've been paid till now. They've been over-invoicing us. And PAC was okay with it. So if you come from any of the constituencies of the people whose names I'm going to post, and you don't know and you send them back, then you yourself now, you cannot complain. You lose the right to complain about anything going wrong in your life in this country ever again. Because you are the problem.
Right. And I like what you're saying, because I think it's about time we give these specific committees, we lay the blame where it's due. I think last week from our conversation with Honorable Al-Hassan Suhini, explained to us that sometimes it's not all of Parliament that is responsible for something. It's the specific, committee that has been given that responsibility that's responsible. So I appreciate what you're saying, Kojo. It's time to fish out these committees, fish out the specific people that make up these committees, and lay blame where blame should go. And I think these are the things that as voters we need to use to assess who our representatives are, and if indeed they are representing us well. We have just about 3 minutes to go. Should we get into the... No, I think Kwame has retired. Kwame has checked out of the room.
Kwame can't check out of the room.
So, I mean, we could decide to use that time to look at, and this debate that we were having before we came on air, the Baumia's phone...
No, thank you for the opportunity today. I'm grateful. At least, my two seniors have been able to deal with the matters. So, and I share in their position entirely.
Okay. You see, to be very honest with you, and this is my honest view, one of the greatest achievements of the West in the 19th century, probably 19th, was the creation of credit, the whole idea of credit. Because see, that's the only way you can boost one of the key instigators of in the economy. As in, when you define economy, say it's what's the state of every country in terms of production and consumption of goods and services. What boosts consumption? Consumption has been shown to also hold economies together. In fact, there was an article I read that said that the reason why the American economy showed some resilience post-COVID, when everybody thought that there was going to be a recession, was the ability of the citizens to consume. And the reason why they can consume is because of the robust credit system they have there. So when anybody talks about credit as a concept, the same way I always see that you can't see the 24-hour economy as an effect per se is bad. Yeah, I understand. So yes, we need a credit system in this country. But for me, like both of my brothers keep on saying, it's not about the fact that we need a credit system. It's the how you are going to do it. That should interest them. How are you going to create that credit system? And also the fact, another thing that I think vex people, the fact that you are in the position now to create that system. But because this is about, I keep on saying that, see, when it comes to, the reason why usually I'm very careful when I'm criticizing ministers is because all the ministers have is the power of policy. As to how government's fiscal, the money, can push that policy, really is the prerogative of the president. But when we talk about something like a credit system, it's not about the fiscal. As in, what strategy, by way of your policy, are you going to incentivize our credit system, our banks to create that credit? And the creation of credit scoring is one. But the point is, why you are in power? You have the ability to do it now. Why haven't you done it? Because that becomes a question. Yeah, and that becomes. This isn't something that requires money.
Right.
It's not something that requires you, the government, to make any outlay. It's about your ability to use your pen to create that policy, because after all, I think the credit bureau was created during Kufuor's time, not so, and it was, I think the focus of that strategy was to create a system which would create the environment, the credit environment that will cause the banks to want to give credit to the private sector the more. You understand? So when it comes to those kind of things, for me, it boils down to commitment, and then where clearly you understand. Because like I said, I can't argue with idea that you want to create that right credit environment by way of a credit score, but you are in power now, and this is something that requires you to give money. Right. So why haven't you done it? And I think that is the problem His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia it will have with, in my view, what is a fantastic idea. Because there are so many things that we need to create that right economic environment. The credit system is one, a very good credit system, an antitrust environment, system that will push competition, help innovation, and protect the consumer is one. But we haven't done that. But these are things that do not require, in my view, money. Right. It's about your pen. And so, fantastic idea. I still stand to be convinced as to whether or not there's a real commitment to see it through, and whether or not it's not just a mere political rhetoric that's meant to just garner votes, and so that's what I'll say about it.
Right. Of course, you know that I disagree with you completely.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, and I know I'm going to disagree with everything you're going to say too. So could you?
How do you know? How do you know I'm going to?
Maybe you have imparted Elijah to Elisha.
I completely disagree with all your stand on this issue, but yeah, could you?
Yeah, I think Dr. Bawumia chose a very unfortunate example to demonstrate this policy that he was trying to communicate. I agree with you that a credit system is nothing but a good thing. In all honesty, it is the fundamental difference between the way of life in Ghana or in Africa and the way of life in developed countries.
Yeah.
The credit system is the fundamental difference. That's the way that you can come out of university and own a house in your first year after graduating, and own a car, and not just own a house but furnish it and live comfortably and spend the next 30 years paying it off. A credit system allows that. So if a presidential candidate from any party suggests that they are going to ensure we have a credit system in this country, it's a good thing. But you know, when you have a certain deficit where before anybody takes anything you say at face value, they are still going to look at it through the prism of all the things you've said in the past, all the reasons they have for not trusting you, all the reasons they have for feeling disappointed in you. They will look at everything you say through that prism before they even listen to the kernel of your message. If you have that handicap hanging around your neck, maybe you'll be better advised to choose your words more carefully, so that you don't end up saying things like, oh, so that you can come and buy for 1 cedi, 2 cedi, and then pay it back. You know that people are going to take that 1 cedi, 2 cedi you said literally and say that you've said something that is impossible, because 1 cedi is too small. I mean, it doesn't work that way. The credit system, it works. And look, the examples are bound. If you know anyone who lives abroad, ask them. One day, my phone, my first experience of it, my phone fell in water. Back then, phones were not waterproof. My phone fell in water. It was sport. So I decided to go and get a pay-as-you-go, a cheap pay-as-you-go phone, just so that my work people could reach me if they needed me. I walked into the shop, and the latest phone was there, shining, the model was shining and rolling around in the air, and people were looking at it, oohing and eyeing. Me, I walked past it, I went to the cheap pay-as-you-go phones, and the woman said, but why don't you get yourself the new one? I said, I can't afford. She said, are you sure? Have you checked your credit? I said, check my waiting. So she asked me a few questions, took my name, then they took my bank account number, entered it into the system. The system said, you qualify for the phone. And in fact, the way they had worked out the payment, I will be paying with my top-ups.
Yeah.
Right? So my monthly top-ups, there's a small amount added to it so that I pay off the phone. In about a year, I would have finished paying off the phone. I had no money on me that day for a brand new phone, but I got one because my credit was good. It's the same way I bought a car. I couldn't afford it. But I walked into the dealership, they checked my credit, and I qualified, so I got a car. So these things are good. That's really the difference between standard of living in Ghana and elsewhere. It's a good thing. But when you have the history that Dr. Bawumia has, you pick your examples well. You don't go and say 1 cedi, 2 cedi, so that becomes the focus of everybody. Do you see how they are dealing with him on social media? They've decimated because they've made it about the 1 cedi. They've made it about the 1 cedi, 2 cedi. It's a lesson in communication. At this point, you can't afford to get even the smallest thing wrong. And look at the time this is happening to you when you're going to choose your running mate. Your prophetic running mate.
I disagree because I agree. I agree about some fundamentals. It's something you said about fundamentals, right? You know, and contrary to unpopular opinion, I do listen. This thing you said about fundamentals, for me, there are fundamentals that need to be looked at before you can even get here. You know, in our present economy in this country, credit, yes, absolutely. But you build your credit, you know, through having a job, paying your bills, all those things. If I don't have a job, let's not even talk about credit. Let's start from somewhere. Then we build on it.
I'm talking about the individual. I'm talking about the credit system.
But why would you say something?
On it.
Does nobody have a job in Ghana?
So for me,
does nobody have a job in Ghana?
Today, 2024.
What about those who are running small businesses?
In terms of our economy, there are fundamental conversations to be had.
Okay, let me use this. Just 1 second to give.
So nobody has a job in Ghana.
So let me give you one example. Just one example.
Don't make such a point.
So let me just give you one example. So when you go to a great transformational planning, now we are saying that we are going to use our power of fiscal policy to formulate a policy that will compel the banks to use at least 10% of their profit after tax to give credit to the SMEs. You understand? Now, that falls into the creation of that credit system. Because this is what you need to understand. The way I say about credit, we are not just talking about consumer credit like the phone one. Right. But credit also to the businesses, like has been captured in the GDP. That would then cause the businesses to grow, have more people employed, then they can fall on their credit score system.
I completely agree.
Then to be purchasing.
I agree, but I can come back to Ghana.
It's going to be about.
Even our energy sector is what it is.
No, but
how are businesses growing? How would businesses make use of the credits you give them when they don't have energy to run?
No, we have energy.
Instead of small businesses.
No, we have energy. If another is not giving energy,
how do you work in an environment? So can we tackle energy first?
No, we can tackle all that.
Let's tackle jobs. Then let's come to credits. Can we build?
You don't
want to jump from 0 to 100.
You don't need to 0 to 100. Ama, do you know the percentage do you know the percentage of the Ghanaian population that is working? Do you know?
Could you see the smile on my face?
You don't know. That percentage is bigger than the percentage that is not working. So you are telling me that if somebody wants to do something for those who are working, he shouldn't do it because there are some people who haven't got jobs yet. Kojo, what are you saying?
We don't even have the time.
What about small scale?
We've been debating this for hours. We don't have the time for it. What about those who are? That's the point I'm making. Shouldn't we tackle energy first?
But the credit on why energy first?
Shouldn't we tackle? Give the credit to the small scale business owner. Give him the credit.
But you need a credit system. A credit system.
How is he going to turn it around?
You need a credit system.
This energy system that you're talking about. How is he going to turn it around?
How energy got to do with anything?
People have locked up their saloons.
You know something?
All they do is go for credit and be in
debt. Are you a moderator? You want to
show the I cannot appreciate what I'm going to ask you the question that the viewer
I don't think the viewer with a job will ask this question.
I have a job. I'm asking this question.
And then why?
And so there are viewers that have jobs that would ask this question. This is a question that needs to be asked. I will ask the question.
I say that fix energy.
Let's get our things right.
Before we fix it.
I'm surprised though. And for something like this, that doesn't require you to spend money. You the government. It doesn't. You don't need to spend money. You the government, you don't need to spend money.
You want them to
just pick your paper, use your paper, use your paper.
That's what I cast my vote in 2024. I need to see parity in the policy direction of the people that want to lead. I want to see that you get it. You get where we are in this country today. And what I need.
So the priority.
What I need
but
today.
The priority is most importantly on where you spend our money. I'm saying that for this policy, you don't need to spend money. The state, you don't need to spend money.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The state, you don't need to spend money.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we need to
fix the energy crisis. You should go and fix the energy crisis.
So you use your money to fix the energy crisis. And you can pass your pen to create a system. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
The 24-hour caller has talked about credit system. So the 24-hour caller has talked about credit system.
Thank you.
24-hour talked about credit system.
Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Kwame. Always a pleasure. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. Bye.